the building of the Mishkan, but for future generations, he didn't realize that you also have to count the machzah shekel. That's how some understand, but others understand it was just a mistake that Hashem let him make such a mistake, or helped him make such a mistake, because there was a punishment for what he did by saying a certain thing. Because he said he referred to Hashem as that Hashem. If Hashem is the one who persuaded you, Shaul, to kill me, try to kill me, so forgive me, accept my prayer, accept my plea. By referring to Hashem as possibly persuading Shaul to kill him, to even mention such an idea, that was considered very inappropriate, and therefore David had to get punished. So the Gemara says that Ubahashchis, we're in the middle of the page, in the art scroll, most probably we are 62b, most probably I would guess 3, but I have to take a look at the, Yaron, do you have it? Is it? Yeah, it's 62b. We touched number 4, we're on 4. 62b, 4, on the right side, the right column. In the middle of the page. The page says, when Hashem was destroying, during the destruction, Hashem saw, and then he pulled back. He pulled back, and he did not kill. Stop the killing. The question is, you have Mr. Haber?
Morning.
Morning, Akiva. What did Hashem see? It says about Hashchit, Ra Hashem, and after he saw, he pulled back and he stopped the plague, and people stopped dying. So what did he see? So Ma Ra'a, what did he see? So the Gemara says he saw great merits of the ancestors from the past, and the great zchut avot, this great merits of our ancestors from the past, is what stopped the plague. So the Gemara says, Amar Rav. So Rav says, Ra'a Yakov Avinu. Hashem saw, he looked back at Yakov Avinu, the Ktiv, and it says about Yakov, Vayoma Yakov, when Yakov said Kasher Ra'am, when he saw them, when he saw the angels, when Yakov was leaving Vayetzi Yaakov Beersheva, when he was leaving the Holy Land, he sees the angels that are coming. There was a whole camp of angels that are coming to escort him, because there are angels when he's in Eretz Israel, or the angels from Israel, the angels of outside of Israel that are coming to escort him, because he's coming to leave the Holy Land. And he sees these two groups of angels, and Yaakov calls them Machanayim, they're camps, they're two different camps of angels. And those angels are there to protect Yaakov. And not only are those angels there, one of the commentaries say to protect Yaakov, but it's there to protect Yaakov's future children, future generations. So Hashem, and so therefore Hashem saw Yaakov. He saw Yaakov, the merit of Yaakov, and when you see Yaakov, there's the angels that are with Yaakov, with Yaakov's children in the future, and Hashem goes ahead, and as a result of that, Hashem stops the plague. You also could just say, because we see, Yaakov's, the zchut of Yaakov being such a great tzaddik, he saw Yaakov, and that merit, the Jewish people were saved. It says, Vayom Yaakov, because we find in the pasuk that it refers to Yaakov in the language of Ra'ah, because it says Yaakov said when he saw them. And since it says the language of Ra'ah, Re'iyah, seen by Yaakov, so here also, that's what the pasuk is referring to. So many generations later, during the time of David HaMelech, Hashem sees Yaakov, the merit of Yaakov, and therefore, one commentary says he saw the merit of the Torah that Yaakov engaged in the house of Shem ve'Eber. Those years of study, all the years of study, of dedication that Yaakov learned, that was the merit, the great merit of Torah study of Yaakov. that Hashem saw that, and that stood as a merit that his children, Yakov's children, should be saved. So that's the Ra'ah. Ushmuel Amar, what did you say, Aaron? Chutavot, exactly. Shmuel Amar, Eforo shel Yitzchak Ra'ah. He saw the ashes of Yitzchak. What's the ashes of Yitzchak? We all know, because Yitzchak was willing to be burned as a korban. So in Hashem's book, Yitzchak, it's as if Yitzchak was burned and he's ashes. And Hashem saw, and that's a great merit for the Jewish community. The Akedat Yitzchak, that's what we talk about on Rosh Hashanah. The Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Yitzchak, and says if he was in God's books, he did it, he was willing to give his life, says as if it happened. And therefore Hashem saw that. He saw the ashes of Yitzchak. But by Hashem, it's as if it's ashes, as if he actually got killed. So therefore, that merit, Hashem says, I'm going to save the Jewish community. Because these are the children of Yitzchak. It says, Shenema Elokim Yireh Lo Haseh. It says, Hashem will show the sheep, but also you could translate, will see the sheep. Hashem will always go ahead and see the story of the Akedah of Yitzchak, and that will always serve as a merit to the Jewish people. So that's the Ra'ah. Hashem saw what it says in the pasuk that Hashem will see the Akedah, the binding of Yitzchak as a merit to future generations. Yitzchak Nafcha says Kesef HaKippurim. He saw the first money of Machzah Shekel that the Jewish community gave in the Midbar, and when they counted the Jewish community, he saw that, and that was a merit for the Jewish community of the future. And Rashi explains, because the pasuk says it's given as a zikaron. The money, the machzah shekel, should serve as a memory for the people, and this would be a zikaron. This will serve as a good memory for the people for the future. Hashem will remember that for the future to atone for the people of the future. So therefore, the money that they gave for Machzah Shekel back then, Hashem looked at that action of the Jewish community, and that served as a kapara for today. Say that again? To what? No, the first time Hashem said you have to use Machzah Shekel. Hashem said you need to use Machzah Shekel. That's what we're going to see in Parshas Kisisa. When we learn Parshas Shkalim, Hashem tells you need to use a Machzah Shekel. And that was David's mistake. He was not supposed to. Now, sometimes you don't need, sometimes you need to use Machzah Shekel. Sometimes if you want to count on we need Machzah Shekel for the korbanot. Every year, the Jewish community, we have korbanot going on in the offerings going on in the Beit HaMikdash. Who paid for those offerings, those daily offerings, the morning korban, the afternoon korban? That was paid from the Machzah Shekel the Jewish community gave once a year. Everybody gave a Machzah Shekel, so every Jew had a portion in the daily korbanot. Every Jew, and to that we say, the wealthy person can't do more than a Machzah Shekel for this, and the poor person can't give less. Every Jew has to be exactly equal in the Machzah Shekel it's going to be used for the korbanot. It's going to be used for the. You're going to be exactly right. No one should feel I'm less than the other one regarding this. We're all exactly have the same, and the same thing as when they built the Mishkan. Some of the Machzah Shekel was used for let's say for the socket. Certain things it was used for, and certain things that everybody had an equal portion. So Hashem saw that, which it says is a zikaron, which will be served as a good memory. So not only it was served as a memory for them, a good remembrance for them in that generation, it was good remembrance for them in the morning for future generations as well. And that served that act in the Midbar all the way back. Moshe Rabbeinu's generation will serve as a good memory for the Jewish people many years later in David HaMelech's generation. Now, Hashem said, what did Hashem see? Hashem saw the Beit HaMikdash. So, and the Beit HaMikdash, because it says the Beit HaMikdash, David HaMelech was the one who did whatever he could, but he couldn't. He got the land ready for the Beit Hamikdash, but he couldn't build the Beit Hamikdash. It needed to be built by Shlomo. So Hashem saw the Beit Hamikdash, the future, and the merit of the future of the Beit Hamikdash. Hashem said, "I'm going to save the people now." And it says by the Beit Hamikdash, "Tiksiv Bahar Hashem Yira'eh." In this mountain, the mountain of Hashem, Hashem will be seen. What does that mean? The place of the binding of Yitzchak, that was the place of Har HaMoriah. That was the mountain where the Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt, will be built. And it says over there, the Medrash says, as Rashi brings out on the Pasuk, this binding will be a forgiveness for the Jewish people. In every year, Hashem will see this binding of Yitzchak, and it'll serve as an atonement for the Jewish community. It will save them from punishments. So, what do you say that? We did that in Rosh Hashanah. But the idea that here also, Bahar Hashem, because this pasuk is referring also to the Beit HaMikdash was going to be built in this place. So Hashem sees the Beit HaMikdash that's going to be built, and as a result of seeing the Beit HaMikdash, where it says, Bahar Hashem Yira'eh, this place will be seen, this is going to be a designated place. The merit of that, Hashem saves the Jewish people. It's like, it's like sometimes Hashem does things today because of the future. Like we find by Yetziat Mitzrayim, Hashem took the Jewish people out of Egypt, even if they weren't worthy themselves today, but in the future, they're going to be worthy because they're going to get the Torah. Because of what you're going to do in the future, Hashem is going to say, help you today. So a lot of times, it's not only about what we've done in the past, that's a merit for us for today, what we will do. Things that we plan on doing great things in the future, we're going to be doing great things. Hashem says, you're going to be doing great things in the future. I'm going to say, help you today. Just like by Ruth, we find by Ruth, Hashem says, because Ruth is going to come out from Moab, Hashem is going to permit today that you can marry a convert from a woman convert from Moab. Why? Because of the future, someone special is going to come out, a girl, a lady is going to come out from that community, and I want to permit it to the community to marry a Jew from birth. So Hashem today is going to permit because of the future. So Hashem also, I presume in the financial world, there's options and all different things. Hashem knows how the option is going to turn out. Am I talking the right language, Mr. Haber? And Hashem knows how the option is going to come out, and He says, "I'm buying today because I know about the future." I don't know too much about options. Maybe you can help me, but that's what I would say. Okay, now the Gemara continues. Pligi ba, the Gemara says, there's a machloket in this matter. We have more other Amoraim argue exactly what did Hashem see to stop the plague. So the Pligi ba, by the way, we say Vayomer David. Right, we say Sali Me'od Nipna Na V'Yad Hashem. Right, we say that by Tachnunim. Right, Nachem V'Chana Chatasi Lefanecha. That and when David HaMelech says, "I should be in the hand of Hashem," Nipna Na, because that was referring to this story. This was the story because after he counted the Jewish people without using Masa Shekel, he was faced with what type of punishment, and he said, "I want the punishment to be. I want it to come directly from Hashem." Nipna V'Yad Hashem. That's connected to our Gemara today. That request of David was a request following his sin that he did by counting the Jewish people not using the Masa Shekel. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, there is such a thing. Sometimes Hashem might take a tzaddik away from the world, so he shouldn't be able to see, like we find by Avraham. Avram passed away at 175 instead of 180, so he shouldn't see the bad his grandson going off the derech. He shouldn't see Esav. Sometimes Hashem might do because of something bad in the future going to happen. So sometimes He might make a move today because of the future as well, in the negative, so to speak. But of course, it's obviously whatever Hashem does is for the positive. It's all for the best. Pligi bo Rabbi Yakov bar Yidi, Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani. Chad Amar Kesef HaKippurim Ra'ah. One says what Hashem saw was the Kesef HaKippurim. Hashem saw the money that the Jewish people gave, the Machzah Shekel that the Jewish community gave, all the way back in the Midbar. That merit stood for the Jewish community so many years later. That's what he saw. One says Beit HaMikdash Ra, and one says that what he saw was the Beit HaMikdash. He saw the Beit HaMikdash, and because he saw the Beit HaMikdash, and therefore Hashem said, I'm going to save the Jewish people today in the merit of the Beit HaMikdash that's going to be built, and in the merit that David HaMelech did whatever he can to help purchase the land for the Beit HaMikdash, or whatever was necessary for the Beit HaMikdash. As we say, Mizmashir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. It's called Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. It's called David's, the dedication of the Beit HaMikdash of David. But David never built the Beit HaMikdash. Shlomo built the Beit HaMikdash. But he did everything that he could, whatever was necessary, what he could do to get it ready, and so therefore he gets credit. So Hashem saw the Beit HaMikdash, and that's the merit that saved the. So someone to explain, what did he see about the Beit HaMikdash? Hashem saw the Kesef HaKippurim that the people in the future are going to give every year. Every person is going to give a Machzit HaShekel. And that Machzit HaShekel is going to be used in the Beit HaMikdash. So Hashem saw that as a atonement for the Jewish people, and therefore they should be saved today, and no more punishment of the Jewish community because of what they're going to do. In a certain sense, maybe that's like a kapara, because the sin of David, not counting the Jewish people, Machzit Shekel today, but because they're going to do it in the future, the Jewish community is going to use the Machzit Shekel in the future. They're going to count with a Machzit Shekel, but they're building the Beit HaMikdash, so therefore Hashem can forgive today for the sin what David HaMelech did. And the Gemara says, U'mistavra, it's more logical, command the Yomah, like the opinion that says Beit HaMikdash Ra'ah, that it's the Beit HaMikdash that Hashem saw, that the Beit HaMikdash is the thing that's going to be the thing that's going to be a merit for the Jewish community for all future generations. Hashem is going to see this Beit HaMikdash, this holy place that's going to be built, and the great things that are going to be used with the Beit HaMikdash. That's going to be a great merit for more than the money that they gave at the Machzah Shekel in the Midbar in the desert, but the Beit HaMikdash. Because why? Shenema Asher Yomeh Hayom. It says, the pasuk that you will say today, that means future generations. The pasuk is saying, and this day, they're going to say, the Hashem Yireh. They're going to say today, not only today, meaning anytime, every day, all future generations are going to say, Hashem. Hashem is going to look at the Har Hashem. Hashem is going to look at this Har where the Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt. It's going to be built here in this by Har HaMoriah, in the place of the Akedah. Hashem is going to look at that, and that's going to serve as a atonement for the Jewish people. Now the Gemara continues. Let's see any important comment. Okay, so the Gemara continues. The Mishnah stated you can't enter the Beit HaMikdash with your stick. You can't come in with your stick. A stick over there is referred to a stick that's used. You ever see some of the noble people in England, right? They have like a stick. I don't know, Winston Churchill, right? He had a stick, walking cane. But some of them are not for the purpose of a cane. It's dignity, nobility. You can't walk in to the Beit to Har HaBayit, to the Temple Mount, with such a stick. The Mishnah says, because you're supposed to act with humility, not with nobility as a person, but with humility in front of Hashem. You're coming to the Temple Mount, so to speak, to Har HaBayit. You're supposed to not walk with the stick. You don't have your money purse, money belt. So there are different things that the Mishnah says that you are not allowed to do, you have to conduct yourself in a certain fashion when you're in such a holy, when you're in such a holy place. And the Mishnah also says you cannot make the Har HaBayit, you can't make it as a kapatandria. You can't make it into a kapatandria. What is a kapatandria? It sounds like it's a tongue twister. What is this kapatandria? We all know, we're familiar with this. You can't make it into a shortcut. You can't say I'm going to cut through the Har HaBayit. It says it's a holy place. You can't cut that, and that's the law that we learn out of shul. If you want to come, if you want to go from one side, you want to go, let's say, to the other side, and the other side of the shul, outside the shul. You want to go outside the shul, and it's a shortcut. If I just cut through the shul, I will save time. I'm not allowed to go just cut through the shul to save time. That's not respectful for the shul. If there's ever a time that someone goes through the shul to get to somewhere else, he always has to spend a little time in the shul, sit down, say a pasuk, say something. Not that you should just cut through the shul. It's disrespectful to use the shul as a shortcut. So that's going to be the common. But let's see how the Gemara. Where did the Gemara get this from? So the Gemara says, because that's the meaning. Amar Rava. Rava says kapandria. My kapandria. What is kapandria? Amar Rava kapandria kishma. Kapandria is the way it sounds. If you take the word kapandria and you break it down, that's what kapandria means. Now, when you want to break down the word kapandria, what does it mean? What is the breakdown of kapandria? So that's how some learn the Gemara. That's what Rav China bar Adam Mishmei de Rav Sama Berei de Rav Mori Ama Kemande Ama Inish. It's the way people talk. Adekamifna Adori Eil Baha. When a person says, instead of going around the rows of the houses, Adekamifna Adori, which would mean taking the word kapandar, which would mean going around the houses. Darya, I'll go ahead and I'll go into this house. I'll cut through this this place in order to go to make it faster. So I won't have to go around. So that's the idea. Kapandria means using it as a shortcut. So that's what the Mishnah is saying. You cannot do that. You cannot use the Har HaBayit as a shortcut. Amar Rav Nachman bar Amar Rav Huna. Rav Nachman said, and by the way, that's the halacha l'maaseh that applies today. You've got to be aware of that. Amar Rav Nachman Amar bar Rav Huna. Hanichlas lebeit hakneses amana shelo lasot kapandria. You went into the synagogue with the intention, I don't want to make it into a shortcut. I went into the synagogue because I wanted to say a chapter of Tehillim or whatever. I went into the synagogue for a holy purpose or a purpose that I need to use the synagogue. For what I use the synagogue needs to be used. Just even to sit in a synagogue, just to sit in and just to be in a holy place. I went in to be in a holy place. Mutter la'asos kapandria. Now, the fact is, if I benefit by after I finish spending my 5 minutes in the synagogue, 2 minutes in the synagogue, I want to go to the other side, to cut through, meaning I went in on one side of the shul, I'm going to exit on the other side of the shul, and I'm going to gain from that because I want to get to the other side because the house that I'm going to is on the other side of the shul, being that I went in not for the purpose of a shortcut. I went in for the purpose of using the shul for what a shul is supposed to be used for. I'm allowed to go out on that, even though I'm going to gain by going out on the other exit. It's not a problem because it's not disrespectful to the synagogue because I went in for the purpose of using the synagogue for the synagogue is used for. Ravo says, if let's say it was a road, it was a path before the synagogue was built, this place was a path that people would go through. So therefore, it's not disrespectful to continue going through that path because the people already had that path. It's not that you're using the synagogue as a shortcut. You're just continuously using the original path that was there before the synagogue was built. Then you could use it. Then you could go through. If you go ahead and you enter the synagogue, this is another, takeoff of what we said before. If you enter the synagogue to pray, you can go ahead and go out from the other exit, even though you're gaining on the deal, because you, like we said, you did not go in to use it as a shortcut. The pasuk says in Cheskel, when the people came, and they came, let's say they used the northern gate, they would go out by the south gate. And the people that came in the south gate would go out to the northern gate. They did not have to go back. They didn't go out the way they came in. They went out the opposite gate, even though they were gaining by going out the other side. And they didn't have to take the extra walk, and because they're going to gain. Because since they came in to the Beit HaMikdash, they came in for the purpose of being in the Beit HaMikdash. This is talking about when there was a mitzvah to go in, to go to the Beit HaMikdash during Ola Regel, during the 3 Regalim. So they didn't come. They came out the gate that was shorter for them than longer for them. We have a halacha by the Ashkenazim, and I wonder if the Sephardim also most probably would have the halacha. When you get an aliyah from the Torah, you always say when you get an aliyah, you go up right away, right? You're supposed to take the fastest route to go. When you're in the synagogue and they call, but Ashkenazim, they call you up by name, right? As Sephardim, they don't call the people, but they just tell you that you're coming up, right, for aliyah. But you're going to do a mitzvah. You're supposed to do a mitzvah with zrizut, with diligence. You don't delay. You go up the fastest way, the fastest. But when you leave a mitzvah, when we get an aliyah, we take the route back, the long route, back to our seat. We don't take the short route back to the seat. Why? We want to show we're leaving a mitzvah. You leave a mitzvah, you want to show you're not want to, what did you say, Mr. With reluctance. We don't leave fast for a mitzvah. Therefore, when we leave, we're going back. I presume the Sephardim have the same halacha. You have to look it up, but you go back and take the longer route to go back to your, so even though you might have to go a little bit of a drop, the beam is over here, the is here. So let's say the shortest route is to go this way. So we would go a little around. Just to show that we're not looking to move away from it. Also, by the way, Rav Yosef says, when you take off your fillin, he says it's tov, it is good practice to take off your shalosh with your weaker hands. That means I'm a righty. So what do I use to take off my shalosh? I use my left hand to take my shalosh off. Why? Because I'm moving away from a mitzvah. Every moment you have your tefillin on, you're doing a mitzvah. So you're moving away from the mitzvah, you move away with your left hand. That's the recommended way to do it. And I presume if you're a lefty, you would take it off with the right hand, because that's your weaker hand. You're going away from mitzvah. Just like you're not allowed to run out of a shul. You could run to shul, you're not allowed to run out of a shul. That's supposed to go fast out of a shul. You leave shul, you go a little slow when you leave shul. You don't want to show that you're running away. Okay. Now the Mishnah says another thing that's forbidden in the Har HaBayit is rikika. It's to spit. To spit by the Har HaBayit will be forbidden. Mikal v'chomer. The Gemara says, because the Mishnah says if I can't go ahead and have my walking stick, my noble walking stick, and I can't have my money belt in the Har HaBayit, in the Temple Mount, certainly I can't go ahead and spit by the Temple Mount. That's a more disrespect. That's a lower act. It's a more disgraceful type of act, disrespectful type of act than having wearing a money belt there. So therefore, the Mishnah says you can't go ahead and spit. Now the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Kol harokik b'Har HaBayit b'Har anybody who spits by the Har HaBayit today, in today's day, meaning after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, it still applies, this law. Ki'ilu rokek bebateino. It's like you're spitting in God's eye. God, of course, doesn't have any physical eye, but the idea is that you're spitting in God's face. because Hashem is there. Hashem is always by the Beit HaMikdash, by the Harabayit. The holiness remains. And that's one of the things when you go to Israel, you're in such a holy place. The holiness remains. Shenema v'hoya libi. Hashem says, Shenema v'ye'enai v'libi sham kol hayomim. My eyes and my heart is there all the days. Hashem's heart and eyes, so to speak. Hashem's Shekhinah, Hashem's divine presence is there by the Harabayit, by the Temple Mount. And therefore, if you go ahead and you spit, you're like spitting in God's house, in God's face, in God's presence. Therefore, it's very inappropriate. Now, it seems that spitting was a much more common, more accepted practice outside the Harabayit. People would spit, like you see certain communities, spitting is more common than other communities. And the Gemara says, but in a shul, he says the shul doesn't have the same level of the Harabayit, even though a synagogue is very holy, and there are certain laws that we're going to see are going to be similar to the Harabayit of a synagogue. But in this respect, he's going to say the same way shoes. Shoes, in the Harabayit, you couldn't wear shoes. You couldn't wear shoes. When you take off your shoes, it's a sign of humility, right? Your shoes are off. You're not wearing proper footing, proper footwear. We say the bracha, she'asa li kol tzarki, the Gemara says, you thank Hashem for everything He gives to you, going on when you put on your shoes. The Gemara says in the old days, when they put on their shoes, now I got everything I need. So I got my shoes on. I could do a lot when I have my shoes. I'm ready to roll. So shoes, not having shoes is a sign of humility. A person, when they're in mourning, they take off their shoes. Yom Kippur, we don't wear shoes. We don't wear our comfortable shoes. We don't wear leather shoes. So therefore, we don't wear them in the Harabayit. When you go into the Harabayit, you don't wear your shoes. But even though you can't wear your shoes there, but in a shul, you're allowed to wear shoes. The same way you can wear shoes in your shul you can wear shoes. So too, you're allowed to go ahead and spit. But this would be in a place. But today, I would think spitting is looked at as a very more lower act today than back then. It's not as, and therefore we'll see about not spitting in a shul. We'll see more about that. Continue tomorrow, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Yosef. What did you say?